Alrighty, everyone. Let's move on to lesson 9. Lesson 9, we'll be looking over the United States and Canada's culture. We'll be looking over the United States and Canada's culture. So let's get started. So when looking at the culture of the United States, now the culture of the United States is the universal culture of the world. Now, what does that mean? Now, the United States is a very diverse nation. We're probably one of the most diverse nations in the world. The United States has a demographic wise has a considerably large white European population, but also a considerably large African American population, a large Hispanic population, and a large Asian population. Now, within those large populations, there are subpopulations. There's people from England, France, Germany, Spain, Portugal, Italy, in the white sector. In the Black African American section, there are, of course, African Americans who were brought here when they were slaves, but there are Nigerians, Ghanaians, Kenyans, Beninians, Egyptians. There's different groups in regards to Africa. When it comes to the Hispanics and the Latinos, there are there are Mexicans, Costa Ricans, El Salvadorians, Brazilians, Venezuelans, Chileans, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans. We have a lot of different groups among the different peoples of the United States. So the US is a very diverse society. That diversity allows for creation of a culture that has many different aspects to it. If we look at pop culture includes our music and our movies. Our music is a combination of European and African and Asian and Native American influences. Our movies are a combination of those influences. Our food, we have pizza, we have tikka masala, we have hamburgers and hot dogs, apple pie, all those things come from different nations around the world. And once those nations come over here, they make that culture, and then that culture is then spread all throughout the rest of the world. So the United States' culture is influencing the culture all over the place. The next part about the United States is in the United States is very individualistic. The United States believes in individualism. Now, there's two different sides. There's individualism and collectivism. Individualism pretty much means everyone has the choice to decide what they want in their own personal lives, and they can achieve their dreams and all that they wanted to do in the balance between the law and what is right and whatever they want to do. So everyone has the right to freely exercise what they want to exercise. Do whatever you want. Make up your own dreams, make up your own future. You don't have to be responsible to the future of the whole society. So the country is very individualistic. Now, when it comes to religion, the United States is predominantly Christian. So predominantly Christian. So we are a country where about 70% of the people in this country believe in Jesus, believe in Christ, believe in things like the Bible, and usually hold to one of the major denominations of Christianity, whether it may be a Baptist, a Presbyterian, a Pentecostal, an Adventist, a Catholic. They subscribe to Christian doctrine. Now, Christianity is not the only religion in the United States that is practiced. The United States has the largest Jewish population in the world. So there are a lot of Jews practicing Judaism, a large amount of Buddhists, a large amount of Hindus, Muslims, Taoist, Jainist, even Satanist. People practice all sorts of religions in the United States. Now, the United States is also a predominantly English-speaking country. Now, the United States does not have an official language on the books, but everyone generally in the United States we've kind of silently agreed that English is the national language of the country. Right now, I'm speaking to you in English. The PowerPoint is in English. Your schoolwork generally is in English. So English is the unspoken official language of the United States. But because there are so many different groups in the country, we don't say that we have an official language, but there's so many different languages. There's English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, various amounts of languages all across the world. So the United States has that diversity, and we do with it what we can. Now, Canada is also diverse, but in different ways. The United States and Canada are very similar. The United States is like the bigger version of Canada. Canada is like the smaller version of the United States. Very multicultural, very broad in its scope when it comes to culture. Canada embraces the concept of diversity and inclusivity. They have a very wide immigration net, so they allow a lot of people in, which creates a large diversity in culture. There's a large Asian population in places like Toronto and Vancouver. There's a large French population in Quebec and Montreal. There's a large British population in places like Manitoba or Ottawa. So, and then they have diverse places that include like the Irish and Scottish influences in Newfoundland and in Nova Scotia. Also, with the Canadians are predominantly Christian in nature. There's a large Catholic influence in Canada, and many people in Canada are traditionally Catholic or some form of Christianity. However, it is not as intense in its Christian roots as the United States is. The United States, especially in the South and the Midwest, predominantly practice a lot of Christianity. But Canada, its Christianity is very secularized and is not that very common in the lives of the people. Also, Canada is a bilingual nation. Remember, Canada is a bilingual nation. They speak English and they also parlent français. So they also speak French. So everything has to be in the bilingual system. There's two languages. If you ever go to Canada, you'll see the sign in English, and then below it or next to it or above it, you'll see a sign in French. If you ever go to fly to Canada, they'll say the instructions in English, and then they'll also repeat the same instructions exactly in French. So it's a bilingual culture because that's the history of Canada. They have those two major nation groups in their borders, so they have to deal with those situations. Alrighty. All right, that is culture of the United States and Canada. I hope you have a good day. See you later.